Tennessee Titans fans, the first official depth chart of the season. Week 1 just dropped, and this is a big deal because it's week 1 and the Titans play this Sunday, this tells you where they stand with certain guys. And I'm telling you, there's some interesting things to note here on offense and defense. Let's take a look at this. Starting on the offensive side of the ball, as you can see, Calvin Ridley, obviously starting wide receiver with Bryce Oliver as his backup. Tight end, Chigakonkwo, still tight end 1, which is to be expected. I know a lot of people think that Gunnar Helm will, or at some point surpass him as tight end 1. But for right now, Chig is tight end 1, followed by Gunnar Helm, followed by David Martin Robinson. Left tackle, you've got Dan Moore with Ali Udoh as his backup. Peter Skoronski at left guard with Blake Hance as his backup. Lloyd Cushenberry starting center with Jackson Slater as his backup. More on that in a second, but I don't think that's going to last. Kevin Zeitler at right guard with Blake Hance as his backup. So Blake Hance currently pulling double duty as the backup for both guards. Right tackle, you've got J.C. Latham as the starter with Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon as the backup. And then at wide receiver, the other wide receiver, you've got Tyler Lockett, followed by Chimere Dike as his backup. And then look at this other wide receiver position. Elic Ayomanor listed as the starter with Van Jefferson as his backup. Boy, oh boy. And then you round it out with Cam Ward, of course, quarterback with Brandon Allen as the backup. Tony Pollard starting running back, and then Julius Chestnut backing him up, followed by Kalel Mullings. So obviously the biggest thing to note on the offensive side is Elic Ayomanor listed as the starter. Wow. So that's something that I wouldn't have completely expected, but that's a good sign for Titans fans. If this kid has come in and done enough in training camp and preseason to make the coaching staff say, okay, we're going on the road to Denver against that defense with that secondary week 1, we feel good enough about him to start him, to list him as a starter for us going into week 1. That's pretty big deal. I mean, and a very encouraging thing for Titans fans, not just for this season, but in seasons to come. If Elic Ayomanor has done a good enough job that you feel good about him being put in this position and coming through, I told you, I think they want him to be the number 2 guy behind Calvin Ridley is what their goal is for him. And it looks like they're trying to put him there as quickly as they possibly can. Elic Ayomanor listed as a starter week 1, and that is something, man, I'm telling you, tells me that they're high on him. I've been high on him since they drafted him. I loved them getting this pick at the end of the 4th round, and he's starting. He is starting this Sunday against Denver. Some other things on the offensive side that I will say, I talked about the offensive line stuff. I don't think Jackson Slater is going to last as the backup center. I mean, we've heard him say Jackson Slater didn't get a whole lot of reps at center this preseason. Really hardly any at all. So I don't know if you can go in there and bank on Jackson Slater as a rookie being the backup center. If Lloyd Cushenberry were to get hurt or something, are you really going to rely on Jackson Slater to come in and do this when he's really mostly been playing guard in the preseason? I think they will elevate Corey Levin at some point because they've currently got Blake Hance listed as the backup for both guards. I think you elevate Corey Levin and then let Jackson Slater be the backup for one of the guards, and then Corey Levin can back up Lloyd Cushenberry. I still think that's got to be where this is heading. I don't think you can go in there with Jackson Slater, who has had very limited reps at center, backing up Lloyd Cushenberry. The only other thing I wanted to note on offense is the running back situation. Not particularly surprising, but I think some people would have wondered if Kalel Mullings could potentially jump Julius Chestnut for this week, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. It's Pollard followed by Chestnut followed by Mullings. That's not too terribly surprising to me. Mullings is a rookie. Obviously, in the event that Tony Pollard needs to get water or pull something or tweak something, Chestnut's probably the next best bet at running back with Spears on IR, and Pollard's going to be the main guy. But Mullings, I think, could get a chance on Sunday to get some quality carries, and what an opportunity for that young guy to right off the bat be able to maybe make something happen in week 1. Let's take a look at the defensive side of the ball. Some stuff to note here. At defensive end, you've got Sebastian Joseph Day with James Lynch as the backup. You really see the defensive depth is just not the best. Tavondre Sweat starting nose tackle, followed by Shy Tuttle. I will say I feel better about the nose tackle situation. First of all, knowing that Tavondre Sweat is back from being out for a couple of weeks. But Shy Tuttle, I liked that pickup. That makes me feel a little better about the nose tackle situation. Defensive tackle, of course, Jeffrey Simmons with C.J. Ravenel as his backup. Outside linebacker, you've got Arden Key as the starter with Femi Oladejo as his backup, and then Jalen Harrell also there as the third guy. Inside linebacker, here's the big one, Cedric Gray. Listed as the starter. He has changed his number to 33. Cedric Gray is the starter with James Williams as his backup. Wow. The other inside linebacker, Cody Barton, followed by Dorian Musai. I think that might change at some point. Maybe not this week, but the Titans picked up a linebacker earlier today. I did a video about it. The other outside linebacker, you've got Draymond Jones as the starter with Jihad Ward as the backup. Man, that edge rush room is tough. Cornerback, you've got Jarvis Brownlee as a starter, followed by Jalen Amar Davis, and then Marcus Harris as the third guy. And then at the nickel cornerback, you've got Roger McCreary with Samuel Womack, who was another guy off the waivers that they picked up. Safety, Amani Hooker getting the start with Quandre Diggs as his backup. Good to have Quandre back. Mike Brown is the third guy there. I think he'll primarily be a special teams guy. The other safety is Xavier Woods starting with Kevin Winston as the backup. And then the last corner position is L'Jarius Sneed with Daryl Baker. So L'Jarius Sneed is back, and he will be starting for anybody that needed to see it in plain black and white writing. There it is. One thing I will say, good news on Kevin Winston. Looks like they're expecting him to play on Sunday. If you heard Denard Wilson today, I think they're expecting Kevin Winston to get in there and get some time this Sunday. That would be tremendous, especially if he plays well. But what about those inside linebackers? Wow. I knew Cedric Gray had a good preseason, but I still thought James Williams had the edge on him. But apparently not. Cedric Gray listed as the starter for the Tennessee Titans. I've liked Cedric Gray since we drafted him. I thought that was a good pick. Could have been a steal for the Titans, and we'll find out because he's going to get his opportunity. Kudos to him for having such a great training camp in preseason, because I do think they may have viewed James Williams, and I still like James Williams, by the way. I still think James Williams can do some good stuff, but I think they viewed James Williams kind of as the guy. But Cedric Gray came in, and I think he had such a great training camp in preseason. He worked his way into this role, and so that's quite the thing to note, that Cedric Gray is set to start on Sunday with James Williams backing him up. Just seeing it in plain black and white here, that outside linebacker, it's concerning. Obviously, Arden Key and Draymond Jones going to be the starters. And then, Femi Oladejo is going to be a work in progress. Jihad Ward and Jalen Harrell are just kind of guys that are there. So not a lot of depth at all at outside linebacker, but we knew that. There's some good pieces on this defense as you look at it. There's some good pieces, but it's like, there's just depth issues big time. Let's talk real quick about special teams. Just some stuff to note. Obviously, we know that Joey Sly's the kicker, Johnny Hecker's the punter. But look at this, kickoff return and punt return. The job belongs to Chimere Dike. He's going to be the kick returner and the punt returner. And the other kick returner is going to be Bryce Oliver. So I don't know how we went from the special teams coach saying just a couple of weeks ago that he did not feel like Chimere Dike was ready to return kicks and punts. I don't know how we went from that to he's the kick returner and the punt returner. But, yeah, it looks like whenever the Titans are receiving the opening kick of the first or second half, whichever one it turns out to be on Sunday, it's going to be Bryce Oliver and Chimere Dike back for the kickoff. And then whenever they punt, it'll be Chimere Dike back to receive the punts. That scares me to death, folks. Having a rookie back there catching punts on the road, I'm going to be clenching them cheeks every time our punt return team's on the field. Every time Chimere DK's back to receive a punt, them cheeks are going to be clenched. I just guarantee you that. But hopefully, I mean, look, we need these young guys to step up in all three phases: offense, defense, special teams. Chimere DK, I don't know how much work he's going to get offensively, but what an opportunity for him on special teams right off the bat to return kicks and punts. Hopefully, hopefully he can provide some stability, not just this season, but in years to come. Hopefully he can be the guy. Kyle Phillips, they wanted him to be that years ago when he was a rookie, but he just got hurt too much. But that is the first official depth chart, and the three biggest things to me that stand out, one in every phase. Elic Ayomanor listed as a starter on offense. Big news there. Cedric Gray listed as a starter on defense. Big news there. And then Chimere DK as the punt and kick returner on special teams. Big news there. Season's here, baby. This Sunday, Titans-Broncos. Tighten up!